KCAA Loma Linda. Listen on 1050 AM, 102.3 FM, and 106.5 FM.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV mobile studio. That's AAMP TV. Today's show is brought to you by Legal Shield, providing legal protection and peace of mind. Legal Shield can help with traffic tickets, texting and driving, DUIs, court appearances, estate planning, even contracts given to people they don't understand, plus a whole lot more. For more information, contact Legal Shield at 213-245-1305. That's 213-245-1305. Or check them out online for more information at nocourt.us. nocourt.us. And a big welcome in to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Magic 97.9 FM right here in Las Vegas. Everybody else on Comcast, Cox Spectrum, Frontier, Wow Cable, Facebook, Instagram, and Hotel Television in 650,000 rooms from coast to coast, if you know what I mean. Everybody watching on TV, you see what I'm saying, and you know where I'm at. I'm right here in front of Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, and we have a very special guest today. As a matter of fact, let's let him introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm Dwight Hicks, former Super Bowl champion with the San Francisco 49ers.
And that would be two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers. Yes. Folks, we're on the 49ers radio network over in Honolulu on KHKA CBS Sports 1500. So this one's a special show for everybody over there as well. You know, we've had quite a few 49ers on. Got to tell you, Dwight, every time they come on, they're smart guys. They're conscientious guys. I mean, seriously, look, we've had them on from everybody. But this is the one organization that it just seems like the organization has raised the bar a little bit, and we have a little bit more intellect, a little bit better dialogue, and a lot more life experience. I can't explain it, but I'm just going to keep eating the popcorn because the popcorn tastes pretty good.
Well, I don't know if there's any truth to that. I do know that they like to really talk to people, players, before they draft them or are really interested in signing them, because they want to see what kind of guys they are, because they're going to be part of the franchise and part of that family, and they want to ensure that there's going to be a certain type of guy that fits right into their scheme of things, whether it's on the field or off the field.
Well, you know, it's interesting. We had a conversation a couple of weeks ago. I think you had said if you want to, I believe it was you. Don't hold me to it if I'm wrong, but it was you had said if you ever want to know how good an organization is, then look at how they treat their alums. Did you not tell me that? Absolutely,
and you can go down the line and to any franchise, and you can see how the guys are doing. What do they say about them? And the NFL is part of that too. I think that's where it should really start, not just the franchises, because the franchises are part of the NFL. And I think that they should be treating former players who made the game great, just as well as the guys who are making the money now. Because had it not been for those guys to lay the foundation, there would be no NFL as it is today.
Right. And, you know, if you look at some of these and you scratch your head with some of these clubs and you say, all right, there's a culture in every locker room. You've played for a couple of different clubs, even in Canada, right? And there's a culture in every locker room. Then you go back to college and you say there was a particular culture here as well. So maybe some collegiate cultures are better fits with certain pro cultures in the locker room. Would you agree or disagree?
I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that because it starts from somewhere. And I know that I think it really starts from your upbringing and then your experiences and your coaching and the attitudes of the coaches as you're playing Pop Warner, as you're playing high school, as you go to college and then to the pros. So, I've been like this all my life. I never really wanted to hurt anybody on the football field because, let's face it, the risk of injury is 100%. It's just a matter to what degree. And those guys are out there trying to make a livelihood for their family. So I wanted to hit you hard. I wanted to let you know that I was there, but by no means was I trying to maim someone in the effort to win.
Yeah, and there's a fine line with that. Look, from the fans' point of view, they want to see hard hitting. But, you know, Dwight, when you played versus what we see today, they say, well, the speed of the game is a little bit more today, but the hitting is less today, too. The risk is a little bit less because look at your protective gear from back when you played versus today's game. Today's game, I mean, you basically have pillows around the players and you have referees saying, "Oh no, that's roughing or whatever." Yes. Somebody would just, there's a tap on the shoulder. "Oh no, that we're going to throw a flag for that." I mean, here when you're hitting or Ronnie Lott is hitting, the whole world felt it through their television or through the stadium, and you could hear it ring through the stadium. Or even a guy that you guys played against, and that would be a guy by the name of Doug Plank, and Doug Plank hit very hard, right? And you know, it's funny. Doug's a friend of mine, and Doug said, "Look, whatever got in my way, I warned my teammates, just get out of the way. I'm going to hit anything that's moving in front of me." And I think that's a fair statement, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and Ronnie was like that too.
Yep.
He would just get just narrow vision on his target, and if you came in that scope, he'd hit you too. And unfortunately, you know, or I should say, fortunately, most time he hit the target. But when sometimes he hit you, you're like, "What the hell are you doing, man? Open your eyes." But it is a violent game. And I think that the league is trying to make the game safer because these guys are bigger and faster. However, when you have 22 guys running around in all different directions, full speed, accidents are going to happen. Injuries are going to happen. It is a violent sport, and there's no way to make it safe. They're making these rules under the guise to make the game safe. It is not a safe game. Somebody said that that football is a game of inches and it's a contact sport. No, football is a collision sport, and the more collisions, the harder the collisions, the more that your opponents will fear you. And again, I never tried to hurt anyone, but I wanted to let them know when they looked up that I was there.
Right. 22 is right in your face. Oh, and by the way, folks, big welcome back to everybody just tuning in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliate. Here with two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers. That'd be Dwight Hicks. So, Dwight, let's think about the speed of the game, and let's think about protective gear. But then let's go back to the speed of your game. Look, your game was not slow. For some reason, people think in your era, when you played, for some reason, people think that people weren't fast and they didn't hit hard. I mean, it's sort of a rude awakening for them because the reality is, look, the game was fast. And look, your guys were just as fast, but they hit harder because they knew they can hit harder. So I would argue the game was more dangerous then, and I think it's a softer version of the game today. Is that fair to say?
It's a fair assessment. I mean, I look at Joe Montana and the way that he's walking around. He can't stand in one place for a long time, and he can't sit down for a long time because he had been hit countless times, and there was no protecting the quarterback. The quarterback was just like any other player. And they talk about, oh, well, you know, this a runner or a receiver is now a ball carrier. I'm trying to tell you, if you're a defensive back and you're running around chasing a receiver all day, when you get a chance to lay him out, you want to lay him out because it levels the playing field. And I'm telling you that the game is just as fast when I played than it is today. I think that the players are more technically sound in the way they hit and the way they tackle than they are today. Sometimes I think some of these rules are hurting the defense because if a running back upon contact is going to lower his body, I was always taught that the lowest guy wins. You get low to get leverage, to hit up and to rise in the target. And if you're not getting your body low to make contact, you're going to get run over. So, that rule about no head-to-head contact, helmet-to-helmet contact, I don't like that at all.
Well, the problem is, Dwight, the refs are so arbitrarily correct. They could say, well, we're going to go to the replay booth in New York, and we're going to see if that was targeting. Now, I saw a call about this in a recent game, something similar, and it was incidental helmet-to-helmet contact. We'll come back at the end of the break with this. But it seemed to me that there should be an intentional foul for a targeting for a real spearing shot, yes. Right? But then incidental contact, it just kind of happens. And folks, it's a part of the game. If you don't like it, then don't watch it. But this is a gladiator game. There are guys out there doing it because they love to do it. And sometimes people get hurt, just like when you're driving. Maybe you're driving fast. Sometimes accidents happen. Well, guess what? It happens on the field, too. We're going to be back here with two-time Super Bowl champion Dwight Hicks from the San Francisco 49ers in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on The Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
My favorite one had to do with the Green Bay Packers. And I love the fact that they dealt off Ty Montgomery because of a blown assignment. Green Bay isn't Green Bay unless they have a good running game. Then they can win 10 Super Bowls. The fact is, you don't have a running game. You've got 70% passing, and that's not where Aaron Rodgers needs to be. He needs to be in a position where he's got a running game to offset the passing game and so forth. I like the move. Green Bay didn't have a running game anyway, so all they're doing is saying, we're going to get rid of you because you don't follow instructions.
Well, he made one of the most boneheaded plays I've ever seen. There's 2 minutes and 5 seconds on the clock. They traded him on Tuesday.
They should have cut him on Sunday night.
He shouldn't have been on the plane back to Green Bay.
Right, they should have made him walk back to Green Bay.
No, it was a terrible play. Now, he's not a stupid guy. He went to Stanford. He's not a dumb guy.
He's not a dumb guy, but he doesn't follow instructions.
He made a terrible play.
The fact is he didn't follow instructions. And you say he's not a dumb guy. His own agenda he put ahead of his team.
I agree.
Thus, he is a dumb guy. Right or wrong?
Wrong. He just got selfish. You're not going to convince me that a guy from Stanford's a dum-dum.
No!
Yeah, this is Sidney Justin from The Miracles.
So you heard yesterday's show at Roy Firestone. Didn't you hear a little clip about him going into the office where Smokey was at? That was really good material, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really funny, man.
Yeah, and then you heard him.
I thought it was hilarious. It was cool, though. It was cool. Really cool story, man. I enjoyed listening to that.
Right, and then he gave a couple of bars. Can you give us a couple of more from Ooh Baby Baby, and let's see if you could do it better than Roy Firestone? Come on, man!
All right, you know what? Why not? I did you wrong. My heart went out to play, but in the game I lost you. What a price to pay. Hey, I'm crying. Ooh, baby, baby. How's that, man?
That's
Is that okay? Is that good enough?
That's incredible. That's fantastic.
You know why? Because that's what you do. You're in the incredible business, Sid. That's awesome. Yes! Only on the Sports Circus. You're going to get sports. You get music.
You're watching the Sports Circus, and I am Brian Erlacher.
to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV mobile studio. That's AAMP TV. This segment brought to you in part by Cali Vegas, helping people create and host their very own radio, TV, or multimedia talk show. Cali Vegas can help with everything they need to get out of sitting in hours of traffic, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job, and host their very own talk show in their very own home studio. For more information, contact Cali Vegas at 949-445-1119. That's 949-445-1119. Again, 949-445-1119. Or check them out online for more information at www.calivegas.com. That's CALI Vegas.com. And a big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast, including our friends over in Honolulu on the 49ers Radio Network, also the New York Yankees Radio Network, and the Alabama Crimson Tide Radio Network, KHKA, CBS Sports 1500 over in Los Angeles, NBC News, CNBC Financial, KCAA right here in Las Vegas, Magic 97.9 FM, over in Faraday, Louisiana, Natchez, Mississippi, 107.1 The River, Mid-South Broadcasting, down in Corpus Christi, Texas. Big hello to our friends at CBS Sports, KSIX, and that's home of the Astros, Texans, and Rockets, and as well as home of the Atlanta Braves, WAUD in Auburn, Alabama, WDJY in Atlanta, and everybody else from coast to coast on television, in hotels, on hotel television, right? Over 500,000 rooms. We're back here with two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers. That would be Dwight Hicks. All right. And Dwight, in the last segment, I'm going to let you pick up where you left off so we can go ahead and chop that up a little bit.
Well, I just feel that, the game isn't safe, and they're trying to make it safer by changing the rules. And as I was saying, Joe Montana could barely sit down for any length of time or stand up for any length of time because he got hit hard. He was considered just a player on the field. Now they're protecting the quarterback so much that, you can't touch him. It's like, then you're taking that out of football. This is part of the game. If you play, it's a violent game. Something's going to happen. And if you don't want to play, that's fine too. But if you step in between those lines, you can't protect one player over another player. It's football.
You know what makes me laugh is, better yet, what really irritates me, and it sort of makes me laugh a little bit, is the fact that they say, well, Joe Montana wasn't the best quarterback of all time, or John Elway wasn't, or whatever. Quarterbacks that played at that time, right? And you say, look, those guys, boy, did they take a beating. And I mean, they took a beating. And yes, they could hurl the ball 50, 60, 70 yards downfield, whatever. But the fact is, the game was so much more physical at that time. I think you and I would both agree with this. For me as a fan and growing up watching this, I want to see guys get hit because I'm on TV. I watch what's going on TV. It doesn't matter, man. I'm not feeling a thing. I'm just chewing the popcorn up, right? But the guys today, and I have to say this, you tap them. Oh, sorry, that's roughing the passer. What kind of garbage is that?
It's football, like I said, and
it's not football, Dwight. Come on, man.
Well, I'm saying it's football. That's not football. I'm saying the game is football, and it's hit or be hit. I mean, put it this way: do people go to NASCAR to see who's going to win, or people go to NASCAR to see these crashes? Absolutely. I mean, let's face. I mean. The skill of the drivers, tremendous. I mean, these guys have balls of steel to go around the track. And the Indy guys, over 200 miles an hour with all these cars on the track. They're paid a lot of money to do that. Okay? And if you don't do it, if you can't compete, if you can't go to the limit with that car and driver, then you shouldn't be in the race. I remember going to an Indy, the 500, when the 500 was in Indianapolis, when I was there, I should say. And I went down to the pit, and the lead mechanic was talking to his driver and had just sent him out. And he was kind of yelling. I said, "What did you say to him?" He said, "I said to him, there's nothing wrong with the car. Drive the car, or get out of the race. And I said, why'd you say that to him? He said, well, he kind of had a near miss against the wall, near the wall, and it scared him. And he came in, and I told him, what's wrong? And he told me, I said, look, drive the car. Drive the car. There's nothing wrong with the car. Drive it to the limit or get out of the race. And in football, it's the same thing. If you're going to play, play. Don't be making these rules to try to make this game something that it's not.
Right. And I think it's that softness is one aspect. But, Dwight, there's also the gambling aspect. It is what it is, folks. You got to realize, right here in Las Vegas, we have now the Las Vegas Raiders, which there's some people on the fence. And for years and years and years, Dwight, this has been, and it still is, and it always will be, because for 30-odd years, we had the Denver Broncos on television here. This is a Broncos town. I'm not a Broncos fan. I'm not a fan of any of those. But the fact is, it's hard to convert a city. There's 2.4 million people here in Las Vegas. It's hard to convert them from being supportive of one club. Now you're taking in your enemy. And now, oh, by the way, now you're suddenly supporting me. Growing up in Chicago, it's like, hey, we're going to bring the Packers to town, right? Right? And the first thing you're going to get is a chorus of boos from 10 million people. They don't want the Packers here, just like the Vegas did not want the Raiders. The real Las Vegans did not want the Raiders here. If any team, they wanted the lesser of two evils. They were happier having the Chargers here. And frankly, the Chargers probably would have done a hell of a lot better here than even though they're in a new stadium. But as I understand it, Kroenke did not want the Raiders in their stadium in L.A. What do you think about that?
Well, I just feel that I don't think teams should move that much. Even the 49ers moving to Santa Clara. I think the 49ers the San Francisco 49ers have enough fan base in and around the city. That's where the franchise was initiated. That's where they should play. But yes, let's face it. And the Raiders have enough fans in Oakland. But the owners, they want to build these humongous stadiums, and they want the city, if the city doesn't pay for it, then, I want to move my team. It's such a insult and a tragedy to the fans that have supported their teams for so long. The Raiders should be in Oakland. The Denver Broncos are still in Denver, but they shouldn't have to move. San Diego, they shouldn't have to move. But the NFL and their owners are making so much money and TV rights and all that they feel that they have no loyalty to the city that they started in. And here all these fans have supported them for years and are diehards. And now you're going to up and move them somewhere else. I think it's sad for the city. Because, what is in Oakland? There's not a lot. At least the people in Oakland, in that area, Bay Area, got to watch a team that they just followed for so many years. And it's a shame that they move on the whim of the owners just to make money.
Well, think about this. So playing at Candlestick Park, you knew obviously about that, versus Levi Stadium, right? So the idea that you're playing on a field, yes, it's part dirt because guess what? It's a baseball field as well. Yeah. But what was cool about that is the rainy games, the slop and the mud and guys coming up with a face full of mud or turf or something like that. That's the old imagery that I grew up watching guys like you playing. And I loved it because to me, watching a big lineman come up with a face full of turf was one of the best scenes you could ever see on television.
Absolutely. And that was our home field advantage. That's how football was meant to be played. Football wasn't meant to be all pristine. And back in the 60s when I started watching, all the fields were dirt. And you had to play, some stadiums had baseball stadiums in there, diamonds, and they would have to play on that sometimes all year. Sometimes they put the side in after baseball season was over, but that was part of it. It's fall, it's cold, it's inclement, but that was part of the game. But because of money, as we said before, TV, the commentators, they need to read the numbers on a guy's back, so it makes it easier for them. To hell with the players blowing out their knees and having all these bad injuries from hitting hard AstroTurf. Oh, that doesn't matter. We just want it to be cleaner for television. And that's why the game has progressed the way it does. And that's why teams move from city to city, because it's about money.
Right. And, here in the last 30 seconds of the segment, the idea of watching a game that you can relate to as an audience member. Maybe you played backyard football. Come on, who didn't play backyard football? If you're watching this show, I promise you played backyard football. No question. I know people got dirty. It is what it is. But I'll tell you what didn't happen. What didn't happen is we didn't play on turf where our feet would stick in and then we'd move and then we'd tweak our MCL or our ACL. And think about all the injuries. I want to get back to that when we come back from break. Here with two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers, Dwight Hicks. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on The Circus.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this commercial right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC Sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at 702-799-9935. Again, 702-799-9935, or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Nobody wants to get ripped off, broken into, or robbed, but nobody wants to pay a lot of money to have their home protected either. I've got an offer to tell you about to provide home security for your home for less than $1 a day. For real, with no installation or equipment charges. And this is from a company rated #1 by a leading consumer research company. According to the facts, most of you won't even call unless there's a burglary in your neighborhood or something bad happened. So let's give you a reason. Save money. For less than $1 a day with no other costs, you can get your home secured. Plus, get a lifetime equipment replacement warranty. You need protection for your home. Call the Home Security Hotline right now.
800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. 800-361-3491. Again, that's 800-361-3491.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
This is Dwayne Clemens, former Bengals, Chiefs, and Viking, and you're watching the Sports Circus.
Hi, I'm Dwight Hicks, and welcome back to the circus. I'm with Sal, and we're just having a little chat about some football. And we were just discussing before the break about the different stadiums and the turf, and compared to the AstroTurf compared to the regular grass. And back in the day, football was played in the fall. It was cold. It could be rainy. It could be soggy, inclement weather. But that's when you know you're playing football. If it's raining, it doesn't matter. Baseball, if it's raining, they call up the game. Football, you play the game in the rain. You play the game in the mud. Now, because of big money and TV, and they want it to be all pristine, they made this artificial turf. Well, first they started with AstroTurf, and that was really, really bad for the players. But now they have this still synthetic turf because they wanted to make the game clean, and here we are. But I liked it back in the day because at Candlestick, when that fog rolled in, you knew that was home field advantage. You wanted it to be cold. You wanted it to be a little inclement because people had to come to your field on your turf and play.
Listen, man, I couldn't agree more because let's think about. You remember this game about, 19, whatever the hell it was? Remember the Fog Bowl? Remember the Fog game with the Bears and the Eagles?
Yes.
That was phenomenal. And I love the fact that the announcers could not make out where the ball was, who had the ball, because it was complete and utter chaos on the field. Yeah. But that's what it was like when we were kids playing ball, right?
Absolutely.
It didn't matter. Just watch the game. Enjoy it. Go get an adult beverage. Go get an ice cold beer or a soda, whatever the hell you drink. It doesn't matter. Enjoy the show because you're probably not going to see one like this for another long time.
That was part of the drama of it all. Who's got the ball? Jeez, how about in the snow and the whiteouts? It's like, damn, where's the ball? How do they play on that? It adds curiosity to the fans, even. You know,
it does, and I love that aspect. So when you take the team, you take the Oakland Raiders off of the dirt, and Libby Schaff, the mayor up there, but well, there's a lot going on over there. Libby said, "Oh, this is a baseball town, right?" So they shipped the Raiders off, send them down here to Las Vegas, whatever. All right, Libby. And then what is she now? Libby is saying, "Oh, guess what? We don't want to spend the money for a new baseball stadium, but yet you're a baseball stadium or a baseball city first." If that's the case, it seems like the Oakland A's are going to come down here and likely build a stadium on the site of the Rio Hotel and Casino, essentially over my shoulder here and a little bit that direction. Everybody on TV could see this. Everybody watching on Comcast, Cox Spectrum, Frontier Wow Cable, and also in hotel from coast to coast as well. So the fact is, if Libby Schaff was saying we don't want a football team here, well, she's already said essentially we don't want a baseball stadium here because it's going to cost too much money. I mean, we foot the bill here in Las Vegas largely for the Raiders to play, and they have a glorious stadium. It looks like a giant Roomba, if you know what I mean. I mean, those things that vacuum your floor, right? And they say, "Oh, it's the Death Star." It's not the Death Star. Death Star, my ass. No, it looks like a giant Roomba that you could see from 20 miles away. But the fact is, we did a phenomenal job with our taxpayer money, of course. And God knows we got to do that. But the fact is, they have a nice home, but they have turf. And I want to see grass. I want to see dirt. I want to see a cloud of dust. Whatever happened to 3 yards in a cloud of dust?
It's gone forever. You won't see it anymore. But football,
you know what they have? They have smoke. You've heard this one, right?
No. Please tell me. Enlighten me.
So that's when if a receiver catches the ball and he drags his toe, and it gives up like some rubbers.
Oh, the little pellets from the turf come up behind his shoe.
Smoke. You can see the smoke. Get out of here with that.
No. That's what it is today, and it's all about money. It's all about the glamour and the spectacle of putting on a big show. But here we are. Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So everybody, big welcome back to everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, also watching on hotel television. We're here with Dwight Hicks, two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers and an all-pro, a pro bowler. He's an actor. He's all kinds of stuff. This guy's kind of done it all, but we're going to get to that in the next segment, all the off-the-field stuff. I want to ask you a question about take the football season. we start out, it's warm, it's hot. They've got the fans with the mist blowing. And then we get to the cold weather. Would you be behind the idea that the Super Bowl should be a continuation of the season in the elements? Maybe we'll go, I don't know, from where it stands. Maybe it's, 40, 30 degrees. Let's go to, I don't know, let's go to Cleveland. Let's go to Buffalo. Let's have a Super Bowl. Chicago. Let's have it in the blizzard and the mayhem. What do you think?
Well, I think in that respect, you have the two best teams, one from the AFC, one from the NFC. I wouldn't want the weather to be an element that sways the game one way or another. I want it to be perfect conditions. I want it to be perfect conditions and the best team win. Because say a team like Buffalo, so they're used to that inclement weather. And they play, say, Dallas. And if Dallas didn't have their stadium, right? So they would be playing in the winter, in the tundra, or Green Bay. Let's take Green Bay in the tundra, okay? So they play some team that is a warm climate team, and they're not used to it. One team has an advantage because they've played in it all year long. I'd rather see perfect conditions and let the best team win.
Okay.
Because the referees, they're going to add enough drama as it is. You want to have a perfect playing field to play.
Okay, so the example, I think a perfect example of what you're referring to would be, we'll go back to maybe your Super Bowl 16, right, where you had Kenny Anderson and the Cincinnati Bengals hosting Dan Fouts and the San Diego Chargers. Chargers go into a frigid, cold game in Cincinnati. I remember this when I was a kid. And San Diego was clearly the better team. But because they went into the cold weather, they weren't necessarily used to playing in the cold weather, which I think is a bunch of nonsense anyway. But still, you got to play in the snow and crap. But the fact is, I believe if they were at a neutral field, that San Diego probably would have beat Kenny Anderson and the Cincinnati Bengals. I think that's a fair statement. And your team could have played the Chargers earlier, maybe not to a 49-26 disaster like in 1994, but still, I mean, it would have been a fun game, wouldn't it?
Right. Well, I think that all teams should be able to play in any weather because that's part of the nostalgia. That's part of home field advantage. I used to love to go into away stadiums, whether it's indoors, outdoors, bad weather, nice weather, because I wanted to be booed. I was like, yeah, boo me, because you're not going to be cheering much at all today. But that was me. But I just felt that, you put those two teams, Cincinnati and San Diego, on neutral fields, maybe San Diego comes out on top. That was the NFC or AFC championship game. However, for the Super Bowl, I think it should be played on a neutral site in the best weather, because now the best team will be able to will come out victorious.
Okay, so there's
no excuses. There's no excuses.
Okay, well, let's keep that thought for just a minute. We've got a couple minutes left in the segment. Let's just say it happens to be the Orange Bowl. So you're playing in the Orange Bowl in a Super Bowl, right? So you're in Miami. And so guess what? Now you've got a sloppy field. Yet it's the Super Bowl and it's the perfect weather, but guess what? Mother Nature didn't cooperate. Now you've got a game in the slop, yet you still have two teams that are equal. They have to deal with the elements equally. Agree or disagree?
I agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that because it's the same playing field. And this just happens to be inclement weather, but it's outdoors.
Thank you. You have just made my point, Mr. Hicks, because the fact is, I don't care if they're playing in the blizzard. You still have two teams that do what? They've got to perform the same way. Yes. And so that's how I look at it. But nonetheless, I want to see it progress into the regular season, the natural progression of the season. That's just me personally. There's a lot of guys that think the same thing. They ought to revolve the Super Bowl just like they do with All-Star games and all this other stuff.
And play in every city. Every city should have a chance to watch a Super Bowl.
I think that's fair. It's reasonable.
You got a point.
I've got a point.
Yeah.
And listen,
to me as a player, I would like for the Super Bowl to see who is the best team, have the best conditions, and see who comes out on top. No excuses. None.
Yeah, I got you.
I understand that you're a purist, Sal. I understand.
I know. I'm that way even in baseball. I live this way. I can't help myself, and I piss a lot of people off because of it. Because I know in our last 30 seconds, as a former pitcher, I know there are certain stadiums, certain groundskeepers, they'll keep the grass a little bit higher versus a little bit lower for the ball to roll slower or faster. We know these things happen from the grounds crew side. So there are home field advantages too. Tell you what, when we come back, we're going to step away from football and see what's going on in Dwight Hicks's life beyond that. See what he's done off the field. Quite a bit, folks. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Circus.
Can't beat fun at the old ballpark, friends. High pop fly. That would be a home run in a phone booth. I don't know what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box? Here's the pitch. That might not sound important to some people, but when you're a little kid, especially from humble origin, and they cheat you out of a prize. There's a bouncing ball. Second baseman has a Barbary over to first. It's hard to think in laudatory terms of the product.
I think if there was an occasional box of Cracker Jacks that found no prizes for the little Harry Carey many years ago.
You got that right. And boy, when a box of Cracker Jack to me meant a lot of money. Here's a pitch, bounce foul. That's the most asinine marketing I've ever heard of. 1 ball, 1 strike. These guys say, well, you sing about Cracker Jack. I said that I only sing it because it's in the song. Here's a pitch foul back. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised, even to this day, some youngsters who buy a box of Cracker Jack don't find a prize in the box. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Well, if you're going to talk about our congressman being crooked, here's a pitch foul out of play. Why not talk about commercial products that don't do what they represent to do? They told me when they hired me it was a temporary job. Born and raised in St. Louis, and you can imagine the Cardinals were my favorite team from the day I could remember. And all of a sudden, the miracle of life, I'm broadcasting Card games. I own the town and broadcast them for 25 years, and I thought they're going to give me a gold watch, and they gave me a pink slip. Then I went out to work for Charlie Finley for a year, and that's par for the course. Came to Chicago, and I was with the White Sox 11 years, and now with the Cubs. Never missed a game, never missed a time at bat, never missed a half inning that I was supposed to do. You know, Chicago is such a marvelous city. Hey, we got some Chicago people. You know, you never succeed in this business until you've had the experience of working with a terrible hangover. Not until you've been able to come through with flying colors under those circumstances can you consider yourself a professional. Lord knows, I've had more than my share of hangovers. There's a drive, way back, it might be, it could be, and it is. Holy cow, this crowd is wild.
This is Randy Grimes, formerly of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV mobile studio. That's AAMP.TV. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, our recorded shows, which are our podcasts. They're available on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Also, you can click on our NBC or CBS logos or even CNBC. Click on those. It'll give you to the recorded page, the recorded show page. There's, 1,200 shows there. Go ahead and click on any one of them, match them up to the featured guest page, just like for today's show with Dwight Hicks, two-time Super Bowl champion for the 49ers. And go ahead and pick your favorite episodes. Or if you want to go on a binge for, about maybe 2 months, and you can listen to shows literally for every hour for a couple straight months. Either way, folks, you'll be entertained by the Sports Circus. And also make sure to check out our partners, College of Southern Nevada, CSNCoyotes.com for the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Make sure you check them out. Great ball players have come out of there. Guys like Bryce Harper, in fact, played at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Make sure you check them out, CSNCoyotes.com. All right. And welcome back to everybody everywhere. Here with Dwight Hicks again. And Dwight, let's get past the football. Look, we could do football for quite some time. By the way, a big hello to Tyrone Poole, who's watching us over in Atlanta. Yes, two-time Super Bowl champion from the Patriots. Yes.
Yes. Ty, how you doing, brother? Right. Welcome to the club. Two-time Super Bowl champion.
Right. I don't have any of those trophies, but then again, I've got two fountains behind me, right? Let's see if I can. That's right. It's hard to find them. Here's one over here, and then there's one right over here. Okay, I got two fountains. You got two trophies, whatever. All right, so outside of the football world, you spent some time, and you still are, I would imagine, doing a little bit of work on television and film. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I started acting, over 25 years ago, and I'm kind of semi-retired now. But I've done theater and film as well, commercials, and voiceovers. Actually, I got an Emmy for a voiceover I did for the 49ers, a 49er project called The Faithful. So, I found the entertainment industry. Playing football is part of it, and I just went to a different segment as I got older when the body couldn't allow me to play anymore, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I found theater and acting. Really enjoy it.
Okay, so you're semi-retired. It's not like being a semi-pro, right? You're like, I played semi-pro football. So are you a semi-pro actor?
No, that's a little different. When you're on stage, trust me, it's nothing semi-pro about it. It's the real deal. And you have to be on, or you will be revealed. So I enjoy it. I found that the first film I did was Jack with Francis Ford Coppola, Robin Williams, Fran Drescher, Bill Cosby, Diana Lane. And wow, this is pretty cool. And then the second film I did was The Rock. They were filming in San Francisco with Sean Connery, Nicolas Cage, Ed Harris.
It was a great film.
And John Forsythe. And I saw John Forsythe and Sean Connery do this scene that I wasn't in. I was watching the monitor. And Michael Bay went in to give them some direction. And I never went to my my trailer because I wanted to learn. I thought it was fascinating, the lighting. So many things going on. And I was just fascinated. And so he came back from giving them some direction. And he looked at me and he says, I got to do everything. Oh, Dwight, I want you in this scene. And he puts me in the scene. But before I was in the scene, I was watching this monitor of Forsythe and Connery. And these are just words on a page. But they were so engaging in the way and what they were doing that it just drew me in. And I didn't quite know what it was, but it was acting. But I didn't know that it was a skill. And that showed me that there was a skill to it. And I said, I want to be able to do that. Just like as another athlete, to look at another athlete and said, well, there's a skill to playing that position. And I want to learn that. Well, there's a skill to acting. And I wanted to get better because I recognized it, number one. And then once I recognized that, I want to be able to do that. And I have.
So the time and preparation, I mean, look, I've seen that movie probably 50 times. I could almost recite it almost word by word, line by line. It's ridiculous. I love the film. But the preparation, it's kind of like when you're practicing, right? So you practice like you play. And I would imagine even the same thing when reciting lines. It's the same idea, right? So you're practicing how you want to play.
Absolutely. You repeat. Well, first you have to, before you can put any color or nuance into what you're saying, you have to learn the lines. If you don't know the lines, there's really no way that you could add organic emotion to what you're saying. And that's what it is. You're saying these lines, repeating them over and over and over then until it becomes second nature. Then once you have that, now you go back and you say, well, why am I saying this now? So you have to give your character some history, because we all have history, right? As a human being, we have history from when we were, a little boy till now. And all those experiences you've learned, you've remembered, some good, some not so good, but it gives you a history. So when someone says something to you, even though they're saying it for the first time to you, depending on what your history is, what experiences you have, it affects you. So it's not so much what you're saying all the time, it's how you respond, how it makes you feel. And that is that.
By the way, folks, welcome back to everybody just tuning in right here on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates, here with two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers, Dwight Hicks. So, Dwight, as an actor, on film, you have one set of skills, but when you're on stage, and Tyrone Poole, who's with me a couple of times a week, Tyrone does a lot of stage work. Have you done the stage work? And I asked because he tells me that it's remarkably difficult because, buddy, you're on. All eyes are on you, and you can't really have a do-over because you're out there. Have you done stage work?
Absolutely, I have. And what comes out of your mouth, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you have to keep going. And that's one thing I learned before I got on stage. There is no do-over. It's like playing on the football field. You can't run down and say you're running an out and you don't quite make the cut the way you want to. Could you please stop and let me do that again? No. It is what it is. If you slip and fall, you slip and fall. Right. So theater, there's no safety net, so to speak. And that's why there's so much rehearsal. And even when there's rehearsal, there might be a mix-up. But if you don't show that you're lost or mixed up, the audience will never know. So you always keep going. You keep going. And the stage is the real deal. So Tyrone, if you're doing stage and you're listening to me, hats off to you, brother. Hats off to you.
Right. Yeah, that's hard stuff. That's hard. I mean, look, for what we're doing here, it's just a regular dialogue. It's just a couple of guys talking. But the funny thing is when people they'll tune into their favorite podcast and they'll say, well, wow, that sounds really good. You know why? Because they fixed it in the mix. Here we just take Dwight, we take the whole file. I don't care if I trip over my tongue. I do it 5, 6, 7, 10 times a show. It doesn't matter. My concern meter is on 0, but people need to know that it's legit. It's not scripted. No, it's out there. And I think that's the cool part about it. It's the realism that, look, what we're doing is having a regular dialogue. And if you're calling a game, people make mistakes. Just try not to say the bad words so the FCC doesn't, fine you, I don't know, $100,000 or something to that effect.
Show me the money!
Right. Because that gets a little expensive.
If it would come out of your paycheck, those words will be few and far between, if at all.
You got that right. Hey, listen, we've got a few minutes left in the segment here. And if there's anything that you're working on, whether you're working on a film, a television series, a speaking engagement, a book, whatever, go ahead and take a couple of minutes and talk about whatever is important that you're working on, or maybe even a cause that you're behind.
No, well, I'm just working, auditioning, and trying to hone my skills when I'm not doing anything right now. But I'm also working with this advisory board for this company called Preserve. And they teach inmates for prison reform. They teach inmates how to program computers and things of that nature and write data for a computer and then also place them in jobs. So when you talk about prison reform, this is a good way to reform some of the people, the inmates that have done something wrong and they want to get their life on track. We go in and we teach them this craft so they have something, so when they get out and to the world and they've served their time, they can be productive citizens. They have something they can hang their hat on. And this is what I'm working with and doing with this company, because either you're part of the process and part of the solution or part of the problem. And I think this is a good way to give back my time and to help these people that need a second chance.
Oh, that's a great cause. You know, recently we did a show with a baseball player, Andy Van Slyke, and Andy has something like that over in St. Louis, but for the construction business, for remodeling homes, et cetera, et cetera. I love to hear these kind of stories because you're teaching them, this organization is teaching them how to code write.
Yes.
How to really have value. And Michael, our engineer, knows a little bit about the computer side. Michael, what do you think about what Dwight just said for the organization helping people get back out into the real world?
I think it sounds great. It's you know, a lot of these type of programs focus really heavily on blue collar stuff and outdoor stuff, and the reality is a lot of people just aren't suited to that. So it's cool to see that. It's cool to see it happening for more white collar stuff as well.
Yeah. Well, this is for blue collar applicants or inmates because
well, I guess
they're teaching not only the inmates, they're teaching some children of inmates to write code as well and placing them in jobs. So, you know, we're in this ever-changing world, right? So some of these kids will be more apt to, oh, I could write code for computer. Wow, that's great. I want to do that. So
yeah, I guess blue and white collar is the wrong word for it. I guess I just mean more outside of the jobs that are typically used in these kind of reform programs. It's good.
Yes.
Right. I think that's fantastic. Tell you what, Dwight, we're out of time. Thanks for joining us here on the circus today. That would be Dwight Hicks, two-time Super Bowl champion from the San Francisco 49ers, All-Pro, Pro Bowl safety, actor. He's done it everything. Thanks for joining us today, Dwight.
Well, you're welcome, Sal. Michael, thank you, too. I appreciate your time and spending some time with you. Good luck with your show, and I'll talk to you soon.
And that'll do it for the circus today. I'm your Ringmaster Sal. We'll see you next time right here on your favorite station.
Hey, Bugsy, you hear the news about Vinny?
Yeah, it's a real shame. He owed money to the IRS and they finally cut up with him.
Just like Al Capone.
If the IRS can get to Capone, imagine what they can do to little old Vinny, huh?
Poor cat, he was on top of the world, and bada boom, bada bing.
What Vinny needs now is an offer he can't refuse.
Hey, you got a tax problem? Does the IRS claim you owe them a bunch of dough? They can get you too. So call the tax relief line now and learn if you qualify to negotiate your $10,000 plus IRS tax debt for up to a 75% savings. Don't be like Al or Vinny and get busted. Make this free call now. Learn how you may be able to pay the IRS less.
Call now. 800-816-1144. 800-816-1144, 800-816-1144, 800-816-1144.